And in today's tutorial, it happens to be the very first class in the course, PAD404, and it's all about comparative public administration. With this being said, let's go straight into it. Okay, so we have a course, PAD404. So I'm going to be rating comparative public administration. All right, CPA. Okay, now let's talk about the evolution of comparative public administration. What is the evolution? How did these come into being? Where did it start from? Now, the present scientific status of public administration. Now, don't forget, we said comparative public administration. Public administration from a comparative, all right, from a comparative view. So now let's talk about what it means, all right? What it means by public administration. Then we talk about the comparative public administration. So now, according to what we have in the material, the present scientific status of public administration is said to be traced to the early writing of Woodrow Wilson, the former American president. Okay, the present. So now we're looking at public administration from, all right, the scientific statutes of public administration. And these statutes is being credited to the work of the former president, all right, of the US. Okay, the former president, the early writings of Woodrow Wilson, the former American president. All right, Woodrow Wilson. Wilson's perspective, okay, Wilson's perspective of public administration have strongly influenced the rest of the world during the 18th century. His perception, his writing, his contribution about his input about public administration did strongly, all right, influence, all right, influenced all right, the world strongly, okay, his perception about public administration influenced the world strongly in the 18th century. Okay, excuse me. His perception influenced the world strongly in the 18th century. Okay? Now, one thing we need to get here is that we are talking about public administration and we are laying emphasis on how and what the scientific status of the public admin is, or public administration has become. And this is due to the work of the former president, all right, of the former American president, all right, Woodrow Wilson. His influence, his perspective on the term public administration strongly influenced the world in the 18th century. Okay, so now we have Wilson was the first administrative thinker who argued that politics and administrative were different functions. According to him, he argued, all right, is of the opinion that politics and administrative or politics and administration were two different things. His first speech on techniques of administration, was published as an article in the Political Science Quarterly during July 1887. Don't forget, we said his contribution to the term public administration greatly influenced the world. Now, speaking of the comparative paradigm, when we say paradigm, we're talking about a model, all right, or an approach. Speaking of the comparative paradigm set by Wilson, all right, let's consider certain features. All right, speaking of the comparative paradigm, now we've been discussing about public administration. Now, speaking of the comparative approach, all right, or modality to public administration, Wilson, who his work greatly influenced the world in the 18th century, has some features, all right, and we are discussing that right away. Okay, so what are the features? Let's consider some of them very quickly. Now, the very first thing we have here, it says the science of administration for US should focus, all right, should be focused from the democratic point of view. All right, admin for US should be what? Focused from the democratic point of view. He also said a good government is synonymous with the practice of public administration. All right, good governance equals good public administration. Let's take one more. All right, we also have now it says administration can be evaluated in its best only by removing the political aspect of administration. All right, so we have remove politics equals good administration. Now let's explain. According to what he said now, according to some of the features, he said that the science of administration for the US should be focused from the democratic. Now, from the democratic, let's write this in full, democratic point of view. Now let's underline democracy. All right. No, I want to use the red marker. Let's underline. Thought I fixed this. Just a moment. We have democracy. Now, when we say democratic point of view, what are we saying? Simply put, administration is tantamount. All right. Administration should be tied to what the people want, what the people says, what makes the people happy. When we say administration, all right, public administration should be tied to democracy, whereby citizens can freely express themselves without being jailed or without the government coming after them. Meanwhile, the government is responding to the demand and the needs of the people. So it says administration for US should be focused from the democratic point of view. And that democratic point of view is saying, let the people rule and let the government follow a suit. The government is only acting not based on political instructions or turning the political turning the politics around to favor himself or his party, but he is doing what is expected to do as the people demand of him. Don't forget, he's there, all right, by he was fixed there by the people, was elected there by the people, and people should be the citizen should be his priority. Okay, so that's it. Now it says that good governance equals good public administration. Now, for you to say a government is working or a government is okay, the government is doing what? Is attending to the public perfectly. All right, the government is attending, and when you are attending to the public perfectly, it still boils down to democracy. All right, now it says remove politics. You know, when we say politics now, we are talking about bottlenecks in this from this point of view. When you remove politics, when you straight ahead, you attend to people's needs. All right, there are no, it's not rocket science, it is there. All right, it's obvious. You attend to people's needs. Where there is no pipe bomb water, you make one available. The faulty educational system, you improve it. Electricity made available perfectly. When you attend to people's needs, all right, by removing this, all right, then you are what we call a good administration. So according to him, this is all his philosophy. This is all right, Wilson's philosophy, and his contributions were based on all these features. No wonder we're told that his work or his perception influenced the world greatly during his era. So we have that as that. Now let's take a step further. Now, during the 19th century, all right, we were told that the government made a lot of changes, all right, did some comparative studies, and some changes were made in order to increase the efficiency of public administration. Now, it's the USA now is more like a case study for our teaching tonight. All right. So now some important landmarks in these directions were made by the reports of the US Senate and various commission reports. Some of these changes, all right, were additional, all right. Some of these changes were some of these, we said they were some redressing and some changes, and some bodies were set up to ensure these changes were effectively done. All right, so we have the likes of the Commission of Economy and Efficiency in the 1912, the Committee of Department Method in the 1905, just to mention but a few. So now let's quickly talk about the factors that influence the growth of comparative public administration. So now, as a whole, when we're talking about comparative public administration, all right, we're simply talking about different approaches. All right, we're simply talking about comparing, all right, different approaches, comparing different case studies, comparing different happenings in the world of public administration, all right, to ensure or to arrive, you ensure or to ensure you arrive at the best approach to adopt. All right. So we have the features or the factors. Let's talk about the factors that influence the growth of comparative public administration. Okay. So let's go and get my duster and wipe this out. I think this does it better. Yeah, it does. So now some of the factors we're going to be looking at. The very first factors we're going to be considering here. Okay. So now we have some of these factors are some programs referred to assistance programs. Factors that influence comparative public administration. All right, some of these factors are some assistance programs. Assistance, assistance programs. All right, these assistance programs were initiated by the United States to help the newly developed, the newly independent countries. All right. All right. So some culture, all right, culture bound public administrations were dissatisfied. All right. Or let's use this annually. I think that's the topic. That's this annually. All right. So let's put it this way. This annually of culture. All right. Culture, culture bound public administration does not accept, all right, unbound, all right, cultures, all right, cultures are limited, meaning that they are reviewing and amendment, the reviewing of certain things are limited to certain cultures, all right, so they were also changed and disannulled. So we have that as that. So in our next class, we are going to take it up from concept of comparative public administration, and we're going to further discuss, all right, we're going to further discuss the definitions of different scholars when it comes to comparative public administration. All right, so I'm just going to give us an assignment very quickly. All right. Understand by the following. One, public administration. Okay. Two, comparative. All right. Public administration. According to your own interpretation, according to your own input. Okay. Please don't copy from the material and give it to me. According to your own input, what do you understand by public administration? What do you understand by comparative public administration? So we have that as that. So thank you very much, everyone. I believe you've been able to gain something tonight's class. Let's do what keep our notes up to date and send it to appropriate quarters. For those of us who are new to the stream, who are not aware that we have our private class where we walk you through all right, your courses throughout the semester, all right, without leaving any stone unturned, all right, do well to reach out to me today on our official website, which is www.tutorio, all right, .net, and you can use our WhatsApp button on top right hand corner, send me a direct message, and you can add you up to the private class as soon as you respond to the requirements. Do have a wonderful evening. Bye for now.